Before I begin this review, a lot of people are probably wondering why I am doing it so late after the game was released. Well, it's for a number of reasons, mainly because I wanted to finish it before giving my final thoughts on it, and because I also wanted to play through a massive chunk of it and experience everything the game offered. Now onto my review, which will actually be broken up into 3 parts: story, gameplay, and final thoughts. Resident Evil has had a long and colourful history when it comes to plots for their games. Some are simple, much like the first one, while others are completely batshit insane, with games like Resident Evil 6 and Umbrella Chronicles focusing on the action rather than the horror aspects. Returning to its roots in horror, Resident Evil 7 drops the steroid-abusing super soldier heroes and globe-trotting zombie-killing story of the previous games for a more simple and return-to-form story, which sees everyman Ethan Winters go hunting for his missing girlfriend Mia, who has wound up in the care of the Baker family, who at first seem like your typical pop culture interpretation of backwoods cannibal hillbillies. But as the game progresses, we learn that the family have some big ties to the greater universe of Resident Evil. The way everything becomes clear to both the player and Ethan is done masterfully. Nothing is ever really told to the player, and they have to sort of piece it together from various notes and videotapes left around the Dolby haunted house by both Mia and also the missing camera crew of the Sewer Gators reality TV show. The game really shines whenever any of the Bakers appear on screen, in cutscenes or actually chasing you around the house frantically. Jack Baker, the quote-unquote father of the house, is one of the best villains in video games in my recent memory, but nothing as it seems with him and his family, so as we learn a little bit throughout the game and through the end game, you actually kind of feel a bit sorry for him and what they've gone through. It's not actually until the end of the game does any of the ties to the larger Resident Evil canon and universe become clear, as we discover a BOW, or a bioorganic weapon, is responsible for the happenings at the house and the appearance of the Bakers. It's also concluded with a very Resident Evil boss battle, right down to a nice homage to the first game where a special type of weapon, named after a special type of person, is dropped for you. Who gives you the weapon, you ask? Well, it's none other than Chris Redfield, deroided from his last appearance in Resident Evil 6 and similarly working for Umbrella, or New Umbrella, the company he was trying so hard to defeat throughout his years in these games. Playing this game was an absolute pleasure. The controls were responsive and very well mapped. The HUD was also very well done in that it barely exists. If this game had, a flashing HUD that showed health, stamina, ammo, fear, or something like some of these horror games do, it would totally ruin the game's atmosphere that it tries to create. Speaking of atmosphere, this is the first real new-gen horror game that has legitimately scared me. Might have been because I was listening through surround sound headset, or because the sound design in the game isn't utter perfection, but whatever it was done perfectly. The setting and level design is great as well, and it turns the creepy factor up to 11 and it never drops it. The absolute sheer panic and terror you feel in some scenes is real, basically. It's absolutely real, and everything in the level, the sound, the visuals, the stuff they put, the props and everything in the game are absolutely fantastic and lend themselves to creating that atmosphere. The videotape parts were probably my favourite in terms of atmosphere, since you literally cannot defend yourself in them, and it adds a sense of urgency to everything. Like the Mia tape where you actually have to hide from Margaret Baker, it's really intense and really scary and even stressful a little bit. The combat in the game is unforgiving and brutal as well. Early on in the game, your hand actually gets cut off by his zombified, infected girlfriend, and it's all done in plain view of the character. You see his hand get cut off and everything, and it's all done in gory detail. Later on, it's stitched back on in very brutal fashion, and again, in a really big boss fight with Jack Baker with some chainsaws, you actually cut his head right open, and it's happened right in front of you, and it's just completely gory and absolutely fantastic. When you do finally get your hands on a gun, it's kind of fairly useless, used mainly as a device to kind of make you feel safe against the monsters and against the bakers. It also requires you to make well-timed shots so as you can deal the most damage and everything, but also conserve ammo, which you'll be doing a lot of. But thanks to the game's kind of genius thing of having like these small places around the house that you can use as safe houses, there are actually storage crates in there that you can store stuff in, which I was doing a lot of, since item management is very important in games like this, and in Resident Evil games they're very important. Crafting is another big part of the game as well, since you can use its amazingly simple crafting system to make stuff like health items, special ammo. You can actually repair found weapons. There's a part where you actually find a destroyed gun and you can use a repair kit to remake it and give you an extra gun in case you lose your other one or something. And it was great, and it makes you also look around the level as well for items that you can utilize in these build and repair stuff, and it's really great. It's the stuff that's like hidden around the place and everything, which is why I wanted to play the game through all the way through and stop and look at everything. It's really useful to do in games like these. Resident Evil 7 is a much needed return to form for the series, something that myself and many other fans have been looking forward to for almost 10 years. It also sets the benchmark for modern horror games pretty high, and also shows that it takes a little more than a few jump scares to truly make a great horror game. I'm going to give this game a 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a comment in the comment section below, or follow the links on screen now to other reviews or topic videos. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe for more weekly reviews and videos.